Hello everybody. Prior to this review, I just wanted to mention something and have a little bit of fun. First and foremost, thank you for checking out the review. I really appreciate it. Second of all, here's me screw up. During the review, I said the name of the monster creature wrong. I called him Sweet Tooth Jack. It's actually Sawtooth Jack. Both a bit of a mouthful. But here's the fun bit. Why don't you grab a glass of wine, grab a beer, have some shots, and every time I say the name Sweet Tooth Jack, why don't we have a drink and see who's the most pissed by the end of this review? Because I wish I was, when I realised after recording that I had made this mistake. Anyway, enjoy the review. Pause it now if you want, get yourself that drink, or keep watching and laugh hysterically. All's good with me. Hello there, and welcome to the Entertainment Headquarters, your headquarters, where we talk all things entertainment, movies, television, news reviews, and more. And I've been away for a few days, so I haven't had much content on the channel. I spent a few days in Whitby with some work colleagues. We had a fantastic time. We went to the Dracula Experience. We went to the Whitby Abbey, which is a huge monument, a beautiful place to visit. And we got to know some of the history of the town, the fishing village. We also got to learn a bit more about Dracula and Bram Stoker and his inspiration to create the book, and of course which led to probably the most famous and most iconic vampire in the world. There's a blog on my channel. If you want to find out more, please do check it out. But until then, I did get to check out a couple of films. One of them being this one, which I would like to review for you. Dark Harvest. That's right. I did find this to be quite a fun film. I really did. I loved the setting. I loved the tone. It's right up my street. It's mysterious. It's haunting. The cinematography was fantastic for me, with the dark and the kind of blue gothy colours. Well made, well put together. But let's talk about the director. So, let's talk about the director, the cast, and some of the plot. So the director of this is David Slade. Now, David Slade I know from 30 Days of Night. I love that film. I think he did Hard Candy. And somebody the other day told me that he did one of the Twilight films. Now, that made me fall on the floor nearly. Because I am not into these teenage fucking lovey-dovey action movies filled with vampire crap. I'm not a Twilight person. I'm a old school 80s horror person. So that has no interest to me. So David Slade, I love 30 Days a Night, got history of vampires, but I'm not going to watch Twilight. So this film was based off a book of the same name by Norman Partridge. Never read the book. I have heard a few good things about the book, but I've never actually read it. But the basic plot of this is it's set in a small Midwest town, in the good old US of A. And it's a kind of sheltered community. It's based in the 1960s, which is another great thing about this. And every Halloween, there is a ritual or a competition that happens between the young teenage boys within the town. And there is a mythical monster creature known as, I believe, Sweet Tooth Jack. Sweet Tooth Jack, and every Halloween he gets released and he has to make his way to the church in the centre of town before midnight. And all of the young teenage boys have to try and kill him. And some of them, unfortunately, go through horrific deaths themselves trying to defeat this monster. The boy who defeats and kills Sweet Tooth Jack is rewarded with a prize of 25,000, a brand new car, and they can leave the town to live a bigger, more luxurious life out elsewhere. But not everything is what it seems. So that is your basic plot. And playing the characters is you have Casey Lakes, who I don't think I've seen in anything else other than this. I did do a little bit digging on him, and I know he's currently starring as Marty McFly in the Back to the Future musical on Broadway. So he's a very talented actor to be in this, and he's obviously going down the musical route. I'm not into musicals, but good on him. He plays Richie Shepherd, who is the younger brother of, I think Jim Shepherd was the older brother. So, yes, so the main story focuses on two brothers in the beginning. You have the older brother, which I'm just checking if, yes, Jim Shepherd is played by Britton Dalton. So, yes, so Britton Dalton plays Jim Shepherd, the older brother of Richie Shepherd. So in the beginning of the movie, you see Jim take on Sweet Tooth Jack and beat him. You don't actually see Sweet Tooth Jack, but you see the aftermath or in the middle of everything, and he defeats Sweet Tooth Jack. After he defeats him, he gets the prize money of the 25,000. He gets a brand new car, and he promises to go and make a luxurious life for himself, and come back and say to his brother Richie and pick him up and bring him with him at some point. A year later, Jim's just been sending postcards of all the different areas of America he's been to, but he's never returned to the town. And so Richie, the younger brother, who's played by Casey Lakes, makes the decision he's going to enter the competition or go through the ritual when it starts to face off against Sweet Tooth Jack and do the same as his older brother. But his parents are super protective. They don't want him to go through with it. They are against it. They are like, no show, no way, no how. No. And there's a reason behind that, which I can't spoil because it will take away from the plot. I'm not going to spoil the film because I would like people to see it, because I really enjoyed this. The character of Emery Crutchfield is Kelly Haynes. She is the black girl in the movie who, no, first of all, no girls are allowed to enter this competition or go through the ritual. It's only boys. And what happens is, when the competition begins, all the girls are locked up safe, they're kept away, all the doors are bolted, all the boys are forced onto the streets for them to go through this ritual, whether they want to or not. You see them banging on the doors, wanting to be let back in the house. The parents won't allow them. It's very, very crazy how it goes about. It's based in the 1960s. You know, things were different back then. A lot more stricter, lot more not as open or accepting to things in this day and age. And the young black actress and character Emilia Crutchfield, and who plays Kelly Haynes, she goes through a bit of a racial abuse, and she goes through a lot of sexual harassment because she is a girl, and of course she's black, which during that time, you know, it still goes on today, but during that time it was very heavy for young black women and men in the 1960s. Were prominently abused of racism and sexual harassment. And the great thing is, though, she can hold her own. She's a great character. She can kick some ass, puts up with no shit, and that's what you want from a female heroine in these kind of stories. So she and Richie connect. They become an item, and all of the other characters, there's, you know, a handful of minor characters. There's Stephen McCarthy, who plays Coach Nelson. He really is like the villain of the story. No, Luke Kirby is also the villain of the story. He plays Officer Jerry Ricks. Now, he basically is making sure all the boys in the town face off against Sweet Tooth Jack. He has to make sure that there's no cowards, there's no one hiding. He beats them up, he treats them like trash. The whole town on the night time of Halloween is all secured, locked down. Shopkeepers are also protecting their property from the boys from being vandalised. There's a butcher shop, and that gets it ram raided by all the boys wanting to steal the meat and eat the meat, because 3 or 4 days prior to the ritual starting, all of the parents lock all their children, all their male children, away and don't feed them, don't give them water, make them basically starving, so then when they are released, they have no choice but to go out there in desperation to hunt down Sweet Tooth Jack, kill him, and eat what's inside of him, which is candy. It's candy. It's basically like a scarecrow full of food, and it's like a crazy ritual that they have to go through to catch him. But the plot is amazing. The special effects on Sweet Tooth Jack are outstanding. I fully loved the design. I fully loved how he looked. It reminded me a lot of Sam, though, from Trick or Treat, except Sam's like a little pumpkin boy. This Sweet Tooth Jack is like a pumpkin meets skeleton. It's basically like a Jack Skeleton Trick or Treat combination from Nightmare Before Christmas meets Trick or Treat. It's like a combination of them put together to form this creature. But there's a secret behind the creature, behind the monster Sweet Tooth Jack, which I found excellent. I was blown away by the reveal of who the creature is and why, and his motivations of doing what he does. And the parents, like Richie Shepherd's parents, have secrets. The mayor of the town, who basically runs the town, he's a bad dude as well. There's I don't think it's ever revealed why they do this ritual. That's the thing in this film. I don't think there's any reveal of why they do what they do, why this comes out every year, and it's crazy. The things I'd also say about this film, it reminds me of like a creepy version of The Truman Show. As you know, Truman, with Jim Carrey, he was trapped in this bubble. Now, in this film, these are trapped in this Midwestern town, which is like a bubble away from the rest of the world. So they basically do what they want. It's hidden away. No one really leaves, or it's hinted, I think, that nobody wants to leave for whatever reason. But I found this to be like a horror version of the Truman Show, with this subplot of this creature, the there's different creepy members of the community, but in all, this film for me is a must-watch over Halloween. If you like a quirky, unusual, mysterious, in some ways gothy kind of horror movies, this is the one for you. The violence or the kills in this movie, there is some decent kills with some decent gore. Sweet Tooth Jack, in my opinion, does not disappoint when it comes to the kills. There's my favourite one, 100% is where you have a little girl standing looking out of her window, and she's shouting at the window at a young boy who's scared. He doesn't want to go through the ritual. He runs away. He's trying to get into a cellar where another young lad has barricaded himself and a handful of other people involved in the Sweet Tooth ritual, and they've all paid him to stay safe within the cellar of his home. And this young guy is banging to be let in because he doesn't want to face. And he says, "I'll pay you later, just let us in." It goes silent, there's a few more banging, and then something happens. And what's one of the best scenes in the movie, where you just see nothing but mountains of blood. Absolutely brilliant. This has definitely got trick-or-treat vibes. It has Halloween vibes. It definitely has influences from Halloween. Children of the Corn is a huge another influence, I think, in this film. It very much feels like it's like a fantasy / horror movie all rolled together with a bit of Halloween candy mixed in. It truly is. Cinematography, fantastic. The use of different colours, the blues, the darks, the oranges, the reds, fantastic. The cast did an outstanding job, especially Casey Likes as the character of Richie. Very convincing of this young man who's wanting answers, who wants to know where his brother is, who's fighting kind of the authority figures in the town and taking on the school bullies. I also would say, because it's based in the 1960s, with the costuming, it felt a bit like a hardcore version of Grease. You know, you have the girls and you have the boys, and the boys are all got the hairstyles, and they all have their own costumes. They're all in denim. Denim was the big thing in the 1960s. So it's very authentic to the times that it's in. I would definitely rate this, for me, an 8 out of 10, because I love these little creepy Halloweeny movies, and I do believe this will become a cult classic. Just like Trick or Treat has. I keep referring to Trick or Treat because it feels so much like it could fit into that world. I could say, Sweet Tooth Jack and Little Sam joining forces at some point, because they're very similar, but Sweet Tooth Jack is brutal. When you see some of the kills, it's well worth it. There's twists, there's turns. I think the director did an amazing job. He's come back to form, I think. David Slade definitely has done an awesome job. So, yeah, 8 out of 10. It's on Amazon Prime. The plot's good. It's full of twists and turns. There's gore. There's an amazing creature effects. The CGI or the practical effects is 100% worth the watch of this alone. Amazing characters, decent movie. So 100%, 8 out of 10. Your usual plot, a mixture of horror and fantasy rolled in with Halloween candy. What more do you want? If you like your movies, if you like your television, give this a like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.